For centuries, the Mandalorians have seen war, death, devastation. And like most wars, they only lead on to more. The cycle appears never ending, always a cause, always multiple sides grasped by the claws of conflict. Intertwined in their fates together, whatever they shall become. History has a habit of repeating itself, it seems. One Mandalorian bounty hunter in particular, named Din Djarin, might just be the one to finally bring about change. He was tasked with the harrowing responsibility of carrying along the most precious cargo and delivering it safely to the Jedi. Unbeknown to him at the time, this would be one of the most important missions, potentially of his life. Finally, the chance to bring change. As he gazed upon the first opening of the shell surrounding the cargo, he couldn't possibly have known what to expect, or even what was to come on their journey together. For inside the shell was something he'd never seen before. Later, he would come to find out the name of this unique being, and to which he held most dear, risking life and limb to protect the child, which is how the journey arrives here, with us. Not who you were expecting. Din Djarin had to see to some business elsewhere. He entrusted me with the safety of the child. But, in order for us to continue, I must first be convinced that I can trust you. I understand trust works both ways, however. So I suppose we shall just have to get to know each other first. There isn't a lot of time to waste. I assume you're familiar with my people, but to what extent, I wonder. Well, since you ask, we shall start there. The ancient history of Mandalore was filled with war, but that is as most things go through time. We had a single leader that took the title of Mandalore. The protectors helped keep order and would answer to Mandalore. Not a great deal of beings know our true story. We endured wars far before the formation of the Republic, fighting nobly and with cause. Like all wars, plenty was lost. Many of my people had fallen, but many sights had been seen. Eventually, we came across the Jedi Order, which I am sure you are far more familiar with, as most around here are. Battling with the Jedi had proven more difficult than first thought, so we developed better and more powerful technologies to combat them. Our people, in response, became stronger than ever, though this was not without complexities. This brings us to the Darksaber. The Darksaber is an ancient and unique black-bladed lightsaber created by Tar Vizsla, the first Mandalorian ever inducted into the Jedi Order. Now you see the complications. I don't expect you to know that name or the weight it carries, but to my people, it carries much importance. You see, the Darksaber is so powerful, it is thought to be more powerful than a lightsaber, hence its name. It is highly coveted for this reason. There will be many that will stop at nothing to obtain it. And so you see, a weapon so powerful, it could end wars. But in being so powerful, it creates them. Anybody who obtains it had better watch their backs. When Tar Vizsla perished in the Valley of the Jedi, the Darksaber had returned to the Jedi. The Mandalorians then waged wars against the Old Republic, whilst the loyal subjects of Vizsla infiltrated the Jedi Temple to then retrieve the Darksaber, to which their ancestors created. Despite wielding such a weapon once again, centuries of war took its toll on our people. The surface of Mandalore scorched and left in ruin. The colony of Concord Dawn obliterated. Almost 1,000 years later, the Mandalorians then broke into civil war. Sometimes it seemed as though war is all there is. Purpose can be found in it, although with dire consequences. Is it in most's nature to constantly fight? There is much to profit from it. And I suppose that is what keeps bounty hunters in their job. But this time, it was to determine the future of Mandalorian society. Some wished for a more peaceful existence going forward, whilst others longed for the battles their ancestors had once fought, and in itself, conflict. The newer Mandalorians, with help from the Jedi, won this battle. It appeared the Jedi also wished for a more peaceful existence. Duchess Satine Kryze ruled over the survivors, whilst the more rebellious, war-hungry Mandalorians had been exiled to Mandalore's moon, Concordia. It was there that they devised plans to return Mandalore to its old ways, aided by none other than Darth Maul, whom I'm sure you are familiar with. They were able to gain control over the planet, assassinating the Duchess and initiating yet another fight amongst themselves. As you can probably tell by now, this history is one of war and loss. Like most, there will always be conflict in the end. What came from this was no good. Due to the ferocious battle, the Empire had an easy path to take control over the planet after the Clone Wars. the sister of Duchess Satine, named Bo-Katan, was a member of one of many groups of Mandalorian resistance fighters and fought back to regain some control over the planet and return it to its rightful owners. This is where we introduce Sabine Wren. Sabine was a Mandalorian warrior and an expert in the field of explosives. She was one of the first rebels against the Empire and part of the Ghost Crew, a revolutionary leader during the early rebellion against the Galactic Empire. Due to her skill set, she had unknowingly become a valuable asset to the wrong cause. A devastating weapon had been unleashed by the Empire against the Mandalorian people. This was created by our very own Sabine Wren, unknowingly. So, a lot has happened since. I'm sure you have many questions, but we don't have long. There are many questions I'd like answered from you before we go forwards. How is it that you came to know Din Djarin? Well, I don't expect your entire life story, but just a summary will do fine. Well, you must be a valuable ally for him to trust you with meeting me, which is most intriguing because, as a rule, we barely trust anyone outside our own people. And I can clearly see that you are not one of us. So what makes you so special? I am sure you have been on many a journey yourself and are accustomed to not trusting anybody. And that is why it helps to have people that you can trust. You clearly trust Din. What has he done for you? You don't seem the sort to make friends quickly. Normally, with bounty hunters, they usually expect a reward for some of their, we'll say, missions. No, they don't always much care for the nature of them. But Din is different. I believe something happened the day he saw the child for the first time. Something changed. Perhaps for the better, however. Or maybe he could just see the importance that the child had. Big things are coming. Maybe they are already happening. We shall have to see. So, what is your plan in all this? I see. Well, I would hope that you're being transparent, but again, we will just have to trust each other. How did you get to this point? Yes, I'm familiar. Well, It is interesting to know each life path that is taken by another. Maybe you are not so far off from being one of us as I thought. Many wish to learn the ways of becoming a Mandalorian, which involves following the creed. No, one does not need to be human to join, despite the majority being distinctly human. The code of honor, it goes, strength is life because the strong have the right to rule. Honor is life because one can just as easily be dead without honor. Death is life. We must die as we have lived. You'll do wise to remember that, should your journey take you on the path to becoming a Mandalorian. But we shall soon see where your heart truly lies, and your motives. Wait. Did you hear something? Perhaps not. You always have to stay alert, especially around these parts. Well, normally, as a rule we don't, but as I can see your face, I understand you must feel at a disadvantage. If you are to go on this journey and trust me, if it would help, then I suppose I can remove the helmet. Not what you were expecting. I thought as much. You see, that is why I prefer to wear the armor and the helmet, because we are somewhat undistinguishable from one another. Our identities are the same on the outside, but not on the inside. It's good to feel part of something. And they're not all bad. They are trustworthy and good fighters. I'm sure I heard something. Okay. I fear we've already been too long in the same place. Our position may be compromised. We must protect the child now. If you have everything you need, we must go. I will keep Grogu with me. Make sure nobody is tailing us. Watch over the hills also. They could be anywhere and any number of them. They might already be here. No, the child must stay with me. I promised Din that I would protect the child. Okay, if we get split up, I place a tracker on first meeting, so I'll know where to find you. You can hardly blame me. At least it will keep us both safe. Okay, let's go.